question. We actually had a question.
We did have a question. Thank you so much for submitting a question.
If you want to ask a question, go to our website at www.willandcody.com, and we have a little contact us, and you can ask us any question you like. And if we like it, we'll respond. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
And you'll get featured on here. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. One, I'm going to skip the first part because it told us that the formatting of our question form was a little weird. So
and we do appreciate that feedback. If you see anything, you're like, hey, you guys messed this up, let us know.
So Bobcat915 says, if we have our debt paid off and we have our 6-month emergency fund, should we consider investing right now? Is the fact it's an election year an opportunity or a huge risk? That combined with the market seemingly being ready to pop, as in a bubble or burst in the market, makes me with my investments. Should I be?
That's a great question.
Yeah, it actually is. It's a lot of people's opinions and thoughts right now.
And I do get this question a lot, like being that, I majored in finance, people ask me that all the time, like, hey, is this an okay time to invest? Should I start now? Should I wait? And there's a ton of different like rabbit holes I can go in my answer. But I did want to say congrats to, whoever's writing the question. I mean, at least you're at that stage. That's awesome. You don't have any debt, and you got your 6 months emergency fund. So that's awesome in and of itself. But yeah, we're looking at investing. Everyone also always wants to know when the good time to invest is. And the problem is we never truly know the future. Like if you're a day trader looking at, your 1 or 2 stocks that you're focusing on, sure, you could probably have a good idea. You can look at some fundamentals. But for us everyday people that we're just, wanting to know what to do with our 401k or our IRA, we're not, sitting there looking at fundamentals usually. So we're more just trying to make guesswork of it. And so a great quote from a friend of mine is, it's less about timing the market and more about time in the market. That's huge. Love that quote. So I personally use a strategy called dollar cost averaging. And so what that basically is just having a consistent amount every month that I'm going to put towards investing. So I use a percentage. Other people just say, hey, if you can hit a certain dollar amount, whatever you can do. And you just have that automatically, or you move it to your investment account on a regular, preferably monthly basis. And that helps you, if there's any sudden dip in the market, either not all your money is in there, you didn't kind of dump it all in at once. Or 2, if you're putting in regularly and the market goes down, that means the price is going down. So now you're buying at a lower price. And so inevitably when the price goes back up, then that money that you bought at a lower price, stocks that you bought at a lower price will, come back up in that sense. And then, just another thing to think about too is, a lot of us are worried about the dips or the pops in the bubble. That's the thing we're talking about. But also, you don't want to miss any upswings. So like what happens in an election, usually there's going to be a swing. If you have no money in there and there's an upswing, you missed out, on that possible jump. And so I'd say put something in there and then give it time. That's the other thing is I always joke with my wife, like our investment horizon right now where we're at, I'm not going to touch the money that we're investing for a really long time. So I'm really not worried about any short-term dips. I'm worried about consistently putting money in there. And then eventually when I use it, then I care about, things going up and down. But for, the short term, it really doesn't affect me too much. I'm just consistently putting my money in there. And then I know I'll get it, eventually. But Cody, do you have any thoughts on that question?
Yeah,
I didn't take all of it. Sorry.
No. So the way I like to think of cost dollar averaging is it's that word averaging, which means like if I'm just putting it in consistently, if I buy low, then that's good. If I buy high, that's not great. But since I bought low previously, it averages out. And if you think about the market, it's always seems like it's going from the bottom left and kind of goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. But when you look to the right, it's on the top right. That means that it increased. In fact, there's a statistic out there where if you look at any 15-year period of the market in itself, there's no time that's a 15-year period where it didn't at least increase some. So technically, if you are invested in, say, a mutual fund that's just in stocks like the S&P 500 index, which is just an index that kind of like is the Dow Jones, just kind of tells you what the market's doing, then it on average does about 9.8% in the last 90 years that it's been around. So when you're investing, you're really, if you're day trading, that's not really investing. You know, you're trying to get a quick couple of dollars, or maybe you're holding it for a year or something like that. But I see anything over 15 years as long term, and that's really investing. And I'm going to be able to get, most likely, there's always risk, but most likely I'm going to be able to get a return on my investments. And if you just look at the data, look at just the past, in 08, we had a really bad recession. There's actually countless recessions that happened before then, but everybody that just consistently put money in their 401ks or IRAs, they ended up retiring. Mm-hmm. And that's just because it's time in the market, not timing the market. So don't really worry about it.
Yeah. And I think the focus there too, you're right, on the long-term perspective. That's what we really believe in. I mean, I get it. I know people that, day trade and want to make a quick buck. I get it. But as far as my, retirement, I'm looking a little more long-term than just, looking at deals and stuff like that. When I'm speaking to that, I'm speaking to the more, people that are buying mutual funds or, different indexes, stuff like that. Then I would say, it really doesn't matter as much the timing if you're holding it for that long period of time. Yeah. Just consistently put money in, and you should see that return, over your window.